Hello everyone and welcome to the first Read Aloud video. During these videos I am going to read the assigned pages that I assigned during the lesson and read it, annotate it for the structure of the poem, some of the word choices in there, just to give you an example of how to read whenever, or how to read and annotate whenever you're reading, okay? So for the first video, we're going to be doing pages 1 through 10, and then we're just going to be following the videos as we, the videos will follow the assigned pages as we go along throughout the school year, okay? So let's get started. We're going to start with warm-up, right? And dribbling. So as you can see, whenever we open up the book, you see, we already talked about this whenever in the first lesson, right? The different capitalization, the format of it, it's basically telling you how the author wants you to read it, right? So, at the top of the key, I'm moving and grooving, popping and rocking. Why you bumping? Why you locking? Man, take this thumping. Be careful though, because now I'm crunking, crisscrossing, flossing. Flipping and my dipping will leave you slipping on the floor while I swoop in to the finish with a fierce finger roll. Straight to the hole. Swoosh. So, as you're reading and annotating, I would be highlighting or underlining words like moving and grooving, popping, rocking, bumping, locking, the different format and the different capitalization makes you think, I need to emphasize these certain words and say them louder than the previous words that aren't emphasized like that, right? So, moving on. Josh Bell. Josh Bell is my name, but Filthy McNasty is my claim to fame. Folks call me that because my game's acclaimed, so downright dirty, elite, oh put you to shame. My hair is long, my height's tall. See, I'm the next Kevin Durant, LeBron, and Chris Paul. Remember the greats, my dad likes to gloat. I balled with Magic and the GOAT. But tricks are for kids, I reply. Don't need your pets, my game's so fly. My mom says, your dad's old school, like an old Chevette. You're fresh and new, like a red Corvette. Your game's so sweet, it's a crepe Suzette. Each time you play, it's all net. If anyone else called me fresh and sweet, I burn mad as a flame. But I know she's only talking about my game. See, when I play ball, I'm on fire. When I shoot, I inspire. The hoop's for sale, and I'm the buyer. So, some of the annotations I would put for this one is, format-wise, it's nothing really too crazy like we saw in dribbling, but you see it's all in all of the different like italics right here. Those are whenever different characters are talking, right? Some of the word choices in this is, let me see. They mentioned basketball players right here, right? Current basketball players that are playing right now that he's comparing himself to. Kevin Durant, LeBron, Chris Paul. Whenever he says, I balled with Magic and the GOAT, he's talking about Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan. But tricks are for kids. That's a reference to the cereal right there. Don't need your pets, my game so fly. Word choices like this. Old Chevette. We talked about this in previous lessons. This is an example of descriptive and sensory language words. Like normally, the author could have just said car, right? Your dad's old school, like an old car. But they said old Chevette and a red Corvette. The author did this so you can picture the words better in your head, right? And it's more descriptive that way. It helps out your writing a lot. I burned mad as a flame. That's an example of a simile right there, figurative language. Again, that helps you be more descriptive with your writing, right? So remember, these are the type of annotations you should be doing while you're reading and things like that, right? Like Magic of the GOAT, and Kevin Durant, LeBron, Chris Paul. This is how I got my nickname. I'm not that big on jazz music, but Dad is. One day we were listening to a CD of a musician named Horace Silver, and Dad says, Josh, this cat is the real deal. Listen to that piano, fast and free, just like you and JB on the court. It's okay, I guess, Dad. Okay? Did you say okay? Boy, you better recognize greatness when you hear it. Horace Silver is one of the hippest. If you shoot half as good as he jams, Dad, no one says hippest anymore. Well, they ought to, because this cat's so hip. When he sits down, he's still standing, he says. Real funny, Dad. You know what, Josh? What, Dad? I'm dedicating this next song to you. What's the next song? Only the best song, the funkiest song on Silver's Paris Blues album, Filthy McNasty. Right? So, how I got my nickname is basically just dialogue between Chuck Bell and Josh Bell. Remember, Chuck is his dad. As you see, Josh Bell introduced Filthy McNasty in this one and why that is his nickname, right? This is explaining how he got his nickname, Filthy McNasty. So if you were annotating, I would write down Horace Silver, because, again, that's the musician that they were talking about that has the song Filthy McNasty. And some of the descriptive and sensory language words, or the word choices the author uses in this one, is there's a lot of slang, right, and vernacular. So this cat, listen to that piano, fast and free, just like you and JB on the court. That is an example of a simile right there, right? And the hippest, that's another example of slang right there. You shoot half as good as he jams, that's a simile. And notice, again, hippest comes out. The word cat comes in, hip. When he sits down, he's still standing. Those example of slang words, again, funkiest. And then just do Paris's Silver album, Filthy McNasty, right? So these annotations, the slang words, hippest, cat, so hip, funkiest, those are giving you a look into Chuck Bell's personality and how he talks, right? So I would always underline slang words because, again, that's an example of descriptive and sensory language. Gives you a look into their personality and what their character is like. What else? And again, this poem is very important, how I got my nickname, because it shows you exactly how Josh Bell got his nickname, Filthy McNasty, right? It was all because of his dad, and it was because of the song Horace Silver. And I recommend that you go back and listen to that song, Filthy McNasty, because it can give you some more background knowledge, right? At first, I didn't like my name because so many kids made fun of me on the school bus, at lunch, in the bathroom. Even Mom had jokes. It fits you perfectly, Josh, she said. You never clean your closet, and that bed of yours is always filled with cookie crumbs and candy wrappers. It's just plain nasty, son. But as I got older and started getting game, the name took on a new meaning. And even though I wasn't into all that jazz, every time I'd score, rebound, or steal a ball, Dad would jump up, smiling and screaming, "That's my boy out there. Keep it funky, Filthy." And that made me feel real good about my nickname. So at first is a poem about, how Josh sort of didn't like his nickname at first because he would get bullied for it, because kids thought it was funny. You hear the name Filthy McNasty and you think, it's not that great. But he's slowly starting to get it and like it more and more because his dad would be so proud of him whenever he played, and he would use the name, keep it funky, Filthy. So I would annotate that. I think this is also a very big part. It introduces his mom a little bit more, right? And some of the personality of his mom and personality of Josh, right? You can see Josh is not a very neat freak. He doesn't do his chores like cleaning his closet or his bed. And this also introduces his mom's personality of being sort of the boss of the house, right? Another one. I think that's all I would annotate for this one, right? Real good about my nickname, and his dad would jump up, smiling and screaming. But how they bond, doing basketball. His dad is so proud of him, and because his dad is so proud of him while he plays, that makes him like his nickname more, right? Here's the last poem of the first 10 pages. This one's Filthy McNasty. This one's a super important one. We went over this separately in class as well. So here we go. Filthy McNasty is a mythical man-child of rather dubious distinction, always agitating, combinating, and elevating his game. He dribbles, fakes, and then takes the rock to the glass fast and on blast. But watch out when he shoots or you'll get schooled, fooled, uncooled. Because when Filthy gets hot, he has a slammerific shot. It's dunkalicious, classy, supersonic, sassy, and downright in your face, McNasty. So, as you can see in this poem right here, the format of it is like dribbling, right? It's a little bit different. As you saw in the previous ones, it followed more of the same structure, right? But this one, there's capitalizations, and I would make note of that, highlight or underline those, because again, it gives you emphasis on how to read it, right? Slammerific, shot, classy, sassy, and the how down, right, is right there, and how nasty is emphasized, right? Again, mythical man-child. Those are capitalized, but the rest aren't, because they want you to emphasize those part of the words, right? And some of the word choices in this that I would annotate is, so this poem has a lot of descriptive and sensory language words. Let's see, the rock, that's a big one. That is, again, another word for basketball, right? So instead of saying, the author saying basketball, he used the rock, because again, it shows you how the personality of this book and the speaker, right? And a lot of this is verbs, and very descriptive verbs, like elevating, blast, and these words, schooled, fooled, uncooled, those are versions of slang and verbs. So schooled, fooled, uncooled, they're not really actual words, like schooled. Those are just words that Josh uses, and that again gives us a look into his personality. Dunkalicious, slammerific, those are again slang words that again give us a look into how Josh talks and his personality, right? Another one is nasty. So again, some of these verbs, agitating, culminating, and elevating, I would annotate those, because again, those are examples of descriptive and sensory language words. So this is how I would annotate it as I read. Remember, whenever you look at a text for the first time, always try to look at it first before reading for the format, right? Know what words are capitalized, in italics, things like that. Because again, how you read it, and especially with the term expression, is really important to understanding the text, because the author wrote it like this for a reason, right? And again, always look out for word choices in text. And another thing that you could annotate for is characteristics of the characters in the text and some of the events that they're doing. This one is basically some characteristics you could underline is mythical man-child, and then all of the verbs that he's doing in this one. And then you can go back and do that for everything here as well, right? So this one, right, it gives you a characteristic into the look of Josh and his mother, and then his dad, how he acts at games, and then some of the verbs that he's doing, the events that he's doing, right? So that is it for the first required reading. I don't know if I'm going to do this for each required reading. I may just pick certain poems in the required reading to annotate, but maybe I'll do that for 2 versions and see which one y'all like the best and go from there, okay? But that is it for the first one, and I will see you again for the next one. Hopefully this helps with your own reading and annotating, but yeah, that is it for this one. Bye.